So for this tip, we're going to be talking about the difference between Smokeleaf joints and Psychite tea. I feel like for most new players and probably even some intermediate and advanced players, Smokeleaf is the go-to choice that they use in their colonies to help improve mood. But I'm here to tell you that Psychite tea is the better option, and we're going to go over the reasons why that is right now. So first, let's cover the pros and cons of Smokeleaf. So one joint is going to give your colonists a plus 13% mood increase. Sorry, it's not percent, it's just a 13 to their mood. And that's going to last for 12 hours. Now, it also reduces the pain they experience. So they have a negative 20% to their pain, so they just don't feel as much. And the downsides of a Smokeleaf joint are pretty substantial. And the first one is that it gives you more hunger, a 30% increase to hunger. And for a starting colony, that can be pretty devastating if all your pawns are 30% more hungry. Also, it decreases movement speed by 10%. So they're not only are they more hungry, but they're also slower. And the big one is negative 30% to consciousness. That's the worst, and it can in fact be fatal. Now, we're going to cover that in a little bit more detail in just a second. Now, let's talk about Psychite tea. The pros of Psychite tea are that it gives your colonist a plus 12 mood, and that lasts for 6 hours. So it's a little bit inferior to the Smokeleaf in terms of its mood improvement, but it also has other benefits. It gives you a 90% pain. So what that means is your pawns only experience 90% of the pain that comes their way. It basically reduces the effects of pain, which is good. Also, there's an 80% rest fall factor. And what does that mean? It means your pawns don't get tired as quickly when they're under the influence, so they're able to stay awake a little bit longer, which is also handy. The downsides of Psychite tea, there are none. There is no downside. There's no hit to consciousness, movement, none of that. Now, the addiction we can talk about, that's obvious downside for both of these substances, but it can be totally avoided if you just administer no more than once for every 2 days. They both basically have the same addiction rate, and if you just restrict your colonists to only once per 2 days, they'll never become addicted to either of these substances. So that's pretty much negligible, if you ask me, in terms of a pro or a con, as long as you manage it correctly. Now, the big one we talked about was the Smokeleaf, the negative 30% to consciousness. Let's talk about why that is so detrimental to a colonist. So if we scroll right over here, we'll see Bitter Dew, and we take a look at her health tab. She just had a heart attack, and what that's done is reduced her consciousness down to 10%. Now, a lot of things can reduce consciousness, even all the way down to 10%. So you got to be wary of that if they have a brain scar or something like that. Now, what we might do with a patient is say, oh, they just had a heart attack, that sucks. Let's improve their mood a little bit. We're going to administer a Smokeleaf joint to this person real quick and see what kind of effect that has on them. Okay, here we go. Green is now administering a Smokeleaf joint to Bitter Dew, whose current consciousness is at 10%. Now, there we go. You can see the pawn has died. That's because, of course, the Smokeleaf reduces consciousness by 30%. If a pawn's consciousness drops to anything below 0, they will die. Well, there you go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed that tip, and I will hope you will all make the responsible choice and just say no to Smokeleaf. Anyway, if you've got any tips or advice for new players you'd like to see turned into a video, leave me a comment down below. If this was helpful for you at all, hit that like button, and I hope you'll also subscribe. Anyway, thanks again, guys. I will see you on the next one.